I say this again with all humility, but when there are shows, for instance, that I say I'm a recurring actor on, right? And so I may work this week and I may be off a couple of weeks and then I go back. When I go back, the vibe is, oh my God, we missed you, your energy, we missed you. That's a thing. That's a real thing. And that is part of what people think of when they're casting, because I do. When I'm on that side where I'm requesting people, first thing I'm at, and the reverse is true. There are people who will refer people to me, and I know about their energy, and I'll say, no, I know they're talented, but I'm not dealing with that. No, thank you.
Actually took time to learn about how incredible you were, nothing would ever stop you.
If we only knew how incredible we really are, nothing would ever stop us. That's a fact. That's the truth. And that's why I put this whole series together. Hi, my name is JamesAdlam. Thank you for taking the time and joining. If you have not become a part of this community, we'd love for you to do so. Like, comment, share, and join us, because I've had some of the most amazing messages, dialogues back and forth, direct conversations with people about what they're getting out of this. And this is a passion project because I love to see people win. I love to see people get better. I love to get better myself. And that's the environment that we want to create. But today I've got a very important topic and a special guest. And it's about, well, part of it's going to be about, the sustained process needed to be successful. And I thought to myself, who could I have you meet that has done something at an incredible high level? I want you to meet this young lady because we're going to have an incredible conversation. And this is Miss Charmin Lee. Now, some of you may be familiar with her work, but I wanted to make this proper. So I didn't know exactly the best way to introduce her. So I let ChatGPT do it for me. And I looked her up on ChatGPT just on the whim of like, what would they say? This is what ChatGPT says about Miss Charmin Lee. Okay? Charmin Lee is an American actress with a prolific, important word, career in film and television. According to IMDb Pro, look at her putting her head down. As of January 2025, she has 106 acting credits, including 31 film and video roles and 66 television appearances. Her notable works include films like Palmer 2021, Just Mercy 2019, The Fifth Wave 2016, as well as television series such as Girlfriends 2000 to 2007 and Diagnosis Murder. Everyone, please help me. This lady's so awesome. And I've known her for almost 2 decades. And I'll tell you, Charmin Lee, when I read that, I was swimming with pride, and I was blown away because I know I've watched your movies. A lot of people have seen you, but I did not know the cumulative effect of all of it, is the way I guess I should put it. So I'm gonna stop you for a second and ask you the question. Well, first of all, hi, how are you? How are
I'm
you? How are you?
wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited for this. This lady's phenomenal. If you don't have a chance to meet someone, if you have a chance to meet someone who's done incredible works and stayed so humble, this is Miss Charmin Lee. She's so humble. So, but people need to know your background because you're a big time. So please, could you share about like how you got this whole world started for yourself in the entertainment world?
Um, yes, I can. But first, let me say it's good to see you. Hello, friend. And I'm a little taken aback by the whole chat GPT thing. I did not know that. But I have to say, I just have to take a moment out and thank God. Like, when I hear that, because I'm just living in the moment and doing what I do. And I don't normally hear it as a cumulative thing, as you mentioned. And so when I hear it, it's even a little bit overwhelming for me, but just really uh, reaffirms my faith because I'm very thankful to be able to do what I've dreamt about doing since I was 5 and to like truly make a living at it. I'm really trying not to be emotional right now. Wow. So yeah, my humble beginnings were at 5 watching a Shirley Temple show. And there was a scene where she started crying. And I turned to my mom, who was playing cards with family and friends right behind me, like at the table. You know how we do. And I'm sitting in front of the TV, I'm watching this little girl, and I said, "Mom, I can do that." I don't know if that really registered for her or not, but I do know that in Colorado, with there being limited performing arts schools, there wasn't a lot to do to nurture that. However, we went to see a cousin of mine when I was about 8, and she was in a dance recital. And I was like, oh, I like that. So she allowed me to start taking dance classes, ballet, tap, jazz, all of that, which I loved. And then later I was listening to, or I heard this sound. I didn't know what it was. Found out, that it was a lady. Her name is Bobby Humphreys, and she was playing a flute. And I just mentioned to my mom, I was like, I like that sound. And so she allowed me to learn to play the flute. So she was really good about nurturing the artist in me and recognizing it and nurturing it. And then it wasn't really until I got into high school that I started really acting and coaching, ironically. So my godmother, who was our acting coach in our forensics competition team, she took ill my junior year, and we were some beasts out there. We were still trying to compete. We were trying to figure it out. And there was an English teacher that kind of stood in for her, but she didn't know what she was doing. So I just kind of took over the team and started coaching them. So it's funny because people often ask me, how long have you been coaching? And almost as long as I've been acting.
Wow. 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 But I didn't know about the flute, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew about the dance, but I didn't know about the flute.
Yeah.
Okay. What describe to me your like when your breakthrough moment because you told me once you said acting is the only job where you have to keep interviewing. And that always stuck with me. But there had to be some breakout or breakthrough, whatever moment where it all just kind of like you realized you were ascending to that next level. What was that?
In this business, we have many breakthrough moments, and you have to keep evolving, because we say if you don't love it like crackheads love cocaine, if you don't love it like that you really should do a different profession because it's a lot. It's a journey for sure. And fortunately, my love for it has sustained me and has also kept me working. Um, but I will say this, just I know you didn't ask this, but just kind of an aside and then help bring me back on track. Um, it's important to know multiple things in entertainment if that's the world you want to live in. So if you want to stay away from, and there's nothing wrong with waiting tables or working at the bank, nothing at all. But if that's not your passion, if that's not what you want to do, if doing it eats away at the core of you, then you've got to learn multiple things as an artist so that you can live your life as an artist freely. Did that make
Hmm.
sense? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And
So you no, you what so what were you okay, when you had your first breakthrough, like what were you doing to be able to eat and pursue the art? Were you
so
waiting tables?
no, I thank God I've never had to wait tables, but I also went to school for journalism. So I did radio news for a while. Actually, before that, I did Home Shopping Network. Yes, I did. I was her. Hi, I'm Charmin Lee, and I've got a great setup for you all tonight. I've got these glasses going at a low, low price, super fashionable, goes with anything for anybody. We've got this head tie that kind of matches it, so we can stay coordinated, ladies. You know how we do. Stay tuned. After this break, I'll let you know how low these are going to go. Yes,
Oh my God. Okay.
that was my first on-air job. Home Shopping Network in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh my God. Lee, I did not know this.
Yeah, and then from there, I left there because they had a conflict with the fact that I was an actress, and I had booked Parenthood
Oh,
with Steve Martin
yeah.
in Florida, and then I did the new Leave It to Beaver, and they were like, "Listen, you got to choose," and so I left Home Shopping.
It's not much of a choice. Okay.
Yeah, you
Wow.
know I was young and dumb though, because the money was great, but but it goes back to that passion. Like I just refuse to do anything that eats at my soul or takes away from, what I feel like my heart wants to do. So yeah, I walked away from them. And then I started doing radio news. And that was an interesting journey because I found out, I didn't know what it was called then, but I found out that I am very much an empath. And so I couldn't do that long. Reading the news, it stuck, everything stuck. And it's the kind of job where you literally are looking through the tape of bad news to find out which bad news you got to share with the rest of the world. And there's so much that just doesn't even get out. It was just, yeah. But these are the jobs that I had in between, trying these breakthrough moments, right? And so when I realized that I couldn't do that, I started really taking teaching seriously, coaching.
Okay.
And that's when I think I realized that I'm completely unemployable and that I should figure out how to, but I couldn't do the job. I don't know. I don't know. I don't mind the word boss. I don't think. I just, I don't think, but so I went to a YMCA, and they did summer camps. And I said, hey, have you ever thought about adding an acting component to your summer camp? And they were like, well, no, but that could be cool. And I literally just carved out a job for myself. And they liked what happened over the summer and they kept me on until I, left and moved to LA.
Okay. So 106 different works. What over a very extended period of time? One of the things you also told me is that the shelf life of a lot of people in the entertainment industry is very shortened, right? They may have like a little thing here, a little thing there, but then they just kind of disappear. So, how have you been able to sustain at this level for so long versus, I mean, maybe with other people, or maybe not versus, but just how have you been able to do it?
God first, honestly. Like I just really, because I am blessed and I know it's quite a bit different, but not but, and because of that, because I know it's a blessing and an honor, I don't take it lightly. I show up prepared. You know what I mean? I take a lot of pride in being able to walk on a set, being comfortable, making other people feel comfortable, and leaving knowing that I left the place better than it was before I got there, both as a talent and as a person.
Okay. Okay. I get that. I get that. For you to get to the point where I know now it's at a point where you're being called, right? Now they're seeking you out. We have this role. We want you to come. I'm assuming, right? We want you to come read for it or something like that. So when you go from like you're fighting to get noticed, then you're noticed, but then you have to prove yourself. But now you're being recruited to roles where they know they specifically want you. How does someone get to that level of like I'm hunting for it versus I'm being hunted for it in an industry that it probably is one of the most competitive fields on the planet. There are a lot of beautiful people there. There's a lot of talented people there. I know you said you come prepared. I know, and I definitely get the conversation of God first. But is there anything else that you feel that you have done mentally that has kind of set you in a different way, maybe versus some other people?
Um, I'm very intentional. And when I am coaching, one of the main things I talk about is who you're being and how important that is, even more than how you are acting or how you are as a production assistant or how you are as an assistant director, like whatever your role is. It's really, we spend 12, I just finished directing a project and my shortest day was 15 hours. So when you spend that amount of time with people, it's got to be people you want to be around. And I'm that girl. People want to be around me. No, but that's a huge, huge, huge part. I say this again with all humility, but when there are shows, for instance, that I'm a recurring actor on, right? And so I may work this week and I may be off a couple of weeks and then I go back. When I go back, the vibe is, oh my God, we missed you, your energy, we missed you. That's a thing. That's a real thing. And that is part of what people think of when they're casting, because I do. When I'm on that side where I'm requesting people, first thing I'm at, and the reverse is true. There are people who will refer people to me, and I know about their energy, and I'll say, no, I know they're talented, but I'm not dealing with that. No, thank you.
Okay. Okay. That is, thank you. We talk, I've talked to people about personal development, and you've always been someone who's had your nose in some book. As long as I've known you, your ear listening to something positive, reading something, absorbing it. I know you've taken courses on personal development. Like you've actually, as long as I've known you, you've invested yourself into personal development. Can you just kind of speak to the role that that has played for you? Maybe in perform, just maybe in life, just in general.
Well, yeah, when you have the type of career that is filled with more rejection than exception, that's your word, um, you don't have to. But if you want to go through it and maintain your peace and your joy, you have to deal with self. And I have been a self development junkie for the better part of my life because I've always just sought to understand, and understanding that I don't want to feel chaos in my heart or in my thoughts, and how do I avoid that? Well, there's got to be a way. So as a young person, it was church, and I grew up in the Catholic church, but it wasn't resonating with me. And then one time at 13 years old, I got to go to a Baptist church with my bestie. And I went home. I was like, Mom, can I please? I'll go to Catholic church on Saturday if you let me go to Baptist church on Sunday, please. And she did. Right. So yeah, my weekends was church. I didn't care. I just needed it. I needed something that I could understand. And then it's just evolved from there. I've learned more about the art of attraction, the law of attraction with, as you know, Abraham Hicks. And I love the guy who talks about the Bible and how the conversations with God. Oh my God, that was one of my breakthrough, listening to that back in the day. But I'm still listening. I just got a book recently called Prayer Partners by John Maxwell, which is just outstanding. And then I'm also listening to books about relationship because, y'all are a trip. Sidebar. Yeah. So, but yes, but I listen to it from the space of how can I bring the best version of me, even to that in terms of a relationship. How can I make sure that I'm bringing a whole version and healthy version of me to everything? So yeah, and I sleep better.
A whole version and a healthy version. Wow. That's a quotable. I don't have something to write it down with, but that is stuck. A whole version and a healthy version.
If you make t-shirts, give me a cut here.
Done 50-50. And you said something before, I didn't quite get it, but you said about the chaos, like I think managing the chaos or something like that, when you're going through this whole process. But this isn't just the theater, this isn't just the world of entertainment, this is just life stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, because entertainment has its own chaos. So you got to be able to manage things. Like for me, having my home life a certain way is really important, right? Because uh, that I can be familiar with, that I know I come home and it's a safe space and it's a peaceful space. And you know what I mean? Like I tell people all the time, whenever I'm out and about, my favorite part of any event is going home. So that's important to me. Yeah.
Charmin, it's so I have so many directions I can go just with anything you said in the last like minute and a half. But I am going to go down this direction because that point about being whole, you're being whole, but you're taking, like, I've seen some of the work you've done, and I know there's some things that you're working on getting produced right now. And these are like very emotionally charged roles. And I've never understood how someone could not take that with them with some of the things that you have to say on camera. Like there's this Blackjack Christmas, okay? There's one scene when you were on the beach and if you haven't seen it, Blackjack Christmas, go watch it, BT Plus, and it was like a very charged moment. Like how do you jump in and jump out? How do you jump in and jump out and be normal?
Preparation again, right? So my homework prior to that involved me tapping into personal experiences. Um, I I'm not personally, thank God, have not been addicted, but I have lost 2 out of 3 of my brothers as a result of addiction, and so I know what that, I have a familiarity with that. But also, acting can be so therapeutic because at that time when we shot that, my father had not long passed. And I had not really dealt with it. I didn't have time. In fact, when Victoria Raoul called me about the role, that was one of those offers, which I was so grateful for. And I think my dad had just passed maybe like a week before. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to pick up the phone because I was still in that bubble, right? And I was like, it's Victoria. I'm going to pick it up. And she goes, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm making it. And she's like, no, wait a minute. And I love that she was so present that she didn't just fire hose me with what she called for, right? She's like, wait a minute, I hear something, what's going on? And so I shared with her and I started about, she's like, oh, Charmin, I'm so sorry. She's like, then I was calling about this movie, but I can call you back. I said, that's the exact distraction that I need right now, right? So she starts telling me about it. Anyway, I'm like, yes, I agree to do it. I want to do it. And now from that time to the time we shot the movie, I'm in caregiver mode, right? I'm looking out for my mom and my siblings, and it's just what I do. So I hadn't taken my own time to really mourn him. So that was my opportunity to communicate with him, to mourn him. And because I did feel like, man, you left right before you got a chance to see me be a leading lady in a movie. I've done multiple movies, but that was like my movie, right? But then I realized on the beach that day that he was absolutely experiencing this whole thing with me. Like, what are you talking about? Right here, right now. So that particular scene was very emotional and therapeutic. Yeah.
One of the I could see that because that was, I mean, because we sat around, obviously we watched it, and my oldest daughter was like, wow. I just remember her saying wow at that scene. So whatever you were channeling clearly came across. This, and I just thought about this because you weaved it in. You're in an industry where I don't know if it's, I mean, I've seen people canceled, I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's what they call it, canceled, over expressing their faith.
Mm-hmm.
And yet throughout, like, I've heard you always thank God and da, da. How does that, in the world that you're in right now, is that a thing, or is that just in my head? Is it a thing that you don't talk faith, or is that just more my perception than it is reality?
I mean, I think some people are still sensitive about it. I'm just like, I don't care nothing about those people. Do they not know how dope my daddy is? Like, what? Tell me I can't give my daddy love every day, all day, because he's running things like you ain't running anything. I do not care. This cancel stuff is whatever. Cancel my daddy. Let me see you do that. Okay, that's all. But no, I post pretty much every day something about faith on my story, some kind of quote, something like that, some kind of a scripture, and it's amazing. And I'll be honest with you, I remember when I chose to do it, it was kind of like, let's see how this gonna go, right? There was a thought, but then the response, like the people have been like, there is a really strong spiritual, faith-filled Christian, whatever you want to call it, community in this industry that is coming more to light. And I think because of what you just said, people think that they got to be low key about it, but there are way more of us that actually have faith than those that don't. And so I'm just, I'm putting mine on blast. I ain't scared. Let's go.
Well, part of this leads to my next point because you have a major passion project, and when you talk to me about it and about the world of the trafficking, and there's a whole lot. We had this whole conversation. Share as much as you want to share, but I find it really interesting that this is really becoming more. It's becoming more of a conversation today, but it's still a conversation that's so like people don't want to touch it. It's almost like it's too hot to handle. So, I would love for you just to share what this is that you've been working on and just what you've seen, just that whole experience, because it is so awesome what you are working to do.
It is, it's a heartbreaking passion, which is to educate people about human trafficking, human trafficking. And in doing that, that means I got to learn a lot about it. And the more I learn, the more my heart breaks. However, I am thankful that I work in a space where I can use my power for good and enlighten many so that hopefully we can have less and less of this happening, right? So there is a human trafficking series that I developed along with Brett Green about 6 years ago. And the reason you still haven't seen or heard of it is because people are afraid of it. They really are. The trafficking industry makes so many billions of dollars that there's a lot of people involved that don't want to be put on blast. And that's from politicians to law enforcement to educators to the guy that owns the cell phone store. Like, it's really interesting how, and it's often people that you trust, right? There's just so many levels to it. So I put together this series. We're starting to get a little more momentum. I think people are starting to have a palate for it. But in the interim, I had an educator from North Carolina reach out to me and ask me if I would produce and shoot a 30-minute movie about human trafficking for their school systems, because they have a mandate out there where they have to teach and educate these kids about human trafficking from middle school. Oh, JamesAdlam, that makes my heart so happy. Like, that just filled me with, like, yes, it's beginning, because we got to teach them. We got that. They are the ones who have to know what to do, what to, not to do, what to look out for, etc. So I told her, absolutely. We're going to shoot that the first week in April. So excited. And I'm shooting it like a full-on feature that I'm expecting God to make nationwide, because every school should be learning about this. All of our babies need to know.
Why? You already said why, but we're parents on here,
Yeah.
so I just can't get my mind around why there'd be any resistance from anyone with a soul
Yeah.
to get this word out.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a cultural, this isn't a race issue, this isn't a political issue. This is just kids. And
Boys and girls, let's be clear.
was- right.
Both. So yeah, happy that that is at least one greenlit project that we know will start the process of educating, and I'm prayerful that, through this work, our series will actually also get produced, because that one is probably more for, I mean, both children and adults, but more for the adults too, because grown folks got to realize what to look out for too, on both sides, you know. So yeah, yeah, I could go on and on about that. So stop
No,
me.
no. Actually, I don't want to. I want, if there's anything that I want to have happen, for people to realize that when you have like the platform that you have, like, I love that you're doing something with this platform. You're enlightening, you're entertaining, you're educating, and really, but it's about making a difference. And I'm going to be in absolute support and prayer for your project to be in every school system and all that, because like there's zero value in having something that could make that big of an impact and that big of a difference, and suppressing it for some I don't even know what the word is. We in Jamaica we call it caca, some caca reasons.
So, God.
Or you know, whether it's politics or whatever. Like at some point we have to like know what's wrong. It's
Yeah,
obviously wrong,
yeah.
and not have to get a committee for a committee to say we think that this is wrong. Like some stuff is just obviously wrong.
James, it's so deep, man. You know, we really forget about the indigenous community. They taking those little babies, and I mean, it is horrible. Places like Idaho. I think Idaho is beating Atlanta now in terms of being like the number one place. Like stuff we don't know. You know what I mean? It's like it's in the pockets, it's hidden, and there's just so many ways, people, that it happens. It's everything from I'm holding this modeling audition because everybody wants to be a model and put me on camera. Watch me, right? So I'm holding this audition and you go, they got you. They got you. It is that. There was a situation where these girls went and the audition, they had the lights and something's kind of set up like in a warehouse type thing. Baby, they put those girls in a van right there in the warehouse, from the camera to the van, same room, gone, right? Then I'm at a party, high school or college. That's why my daughter, she can't stand it. I'm like, any party, let me talk to the parents, and then I'll know if it's not a legit party, because then she'll just be like, never mind. I won't get, yeah, never mind. It's never mind. Because it's as simple as, hey, the after party's at so and so's house. Come on, hop in the car, let's roll over there together. Got them. There's teachers that we're gonna do an after school study group. Hop in the car. There are so many things that seem trustworthy that we just willingly, people got to see it, they got to know it. And honestly, at first I was saying, I don't want us to not trust each other. I'd rather you not trust anybody than trust everybody and be taken. So screen them all. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when it was do not talk to strangers. Stranger danger. Anybody try to talk to you, call it out. You know? So, like I told you, don't get me started. Stop it.
No, look, I'm over here. My hairs are standing up, and my my kids often wonder, all of them, boys and girls, why wonder like the oldest Jamel. He's still got to text me when he gets home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, and I don't think he'll really understand right now, but
You,
um, I just appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing.
thank you.
I appreciate what you've already done.
Thank you.
What you've already done, but I'm appreciating the evolution that I'm seeing in like the difference you're making, and it is so awesome. So for the folks who want to find you, Charmin Lee. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of Charmin Lees running around. The rest of them a bunch of fakers. But what would be the best way if someone wanted to reach out and even find out how they could support or just anything? Like, what would you
Well,
recommend the best way?
my website is charminlee.org. So that would let you know everything about me as an actor, coach, director, and what else is going on for people who are interested in working with me as an actor. All of that is on there. Just as a sidebar, yes, I only do privates because I realize that every person has individual needs, and if you're going to pay me for something, I want to approach your needs specifically. And no, I'm not cheap. Uh, but I will say this because I'm a different kind of coach. I'm coaching you to come and work for me. So most of my talent will tell you that when I'm shooting stuff, they get to come on set. So I'm not saying it's a pay to play, but I'm saying, I coach you so you can get some money back in your pocket as well. So I'm worth it or I'm not. It's up to you, you know? But on social media, I am Charmin Noel Lee on all the platforms. Charmin, Charmin, just like the tissue. Noel, like Christmas, because that's my birthday. Last name Lee, like Bruce.
That's such a Charmin. Okay, yes. All right. Miss Charmin, I appreciate you. I want to say thank you. I want to say I can't wait to see whatever it is that you produce. And I can't wait to hear about all the great things you're about to do. And thank you for staying true to you. Thank you for loving and expressing your love for God in the entire process of all of it, and for the work that you're doing for not just your family, but for families that may have no idea of what you're doing, but it's going to make a difference when they see those films and be able to educate and all of that. I just want to say I'm grateful for you.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'm grateful for you too, sir. Really. And thank you for having me. I'm excited to see.
No, thank you for making time. You're filming stuff and doing stuff right now. I know you're about to go on set later, so I appreciate you taking time. You're a big deal. 106 things on IMDb Pro.
Ah, man. Thank you.
Thank you, lady.
If you actually took time to learn about how incredible you were, nothing would ever stop you. See, the definition of sight is the faculty or power of seeing.